Hey friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from our half acre homestead with a tea break. And my tea is the only dairy product I have because I have milk in it, but that's the only dairy product I have. I'm still on a sensible eating plan of fruit, vegetables, and occasional meat. And the occasional hard-boiled egg in a salad. That's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm doing my bouncing. Patrons, poor patrons, they get my bouncing and my exercise Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday live. It's unlisted for patrons only. And then today was my first experimental live public over in my Connected Hearts our Connected Hearts Facebook page. So the encouragement has been wonderful. I haven't been this weight since I started work at the bakery. Since I worked at the bakery over 16 years ago. And so yeah, things are going really well. My garden, my beets have come up and they're just wee tinies, but I got a great big zucchini out there, which is going to soon be going into something, whether it's a freezer or a garden medley, I don't know. I trimmed back some of the leaves and vines on my spaghetti squash because I want the squash that are already there to develop. I don't want all the energy going out to more vines and more baby squash. I mean, pretty sure I got like 10 of them out there and in varying sizes. So I'd really like them to just, mature. My tomatoes out back aren't doing really well. My tomatoes out front, what a crapshoot. Guys, if you're going to save tomato seeds or any kind of seeds, don't grow a different kind in the garden at the same time. You know how I got my one hybrid pole bean? Well, I hope I actually get some of those in seed. I don't know if I told you this, but I planted last year, I planted like 8 Manitoba tomatoes and 1 Brandywine. Well, the seeds I saved from the Manitoba tomato gave me Brandywine Manitoba crosses. So they're taking their sweet time in developing and ripening. There's also the fact that this year I'm not saving any seeds of tomatoes from my garden because now I have these weird Manitoba Brandywine crosses. I have the subarctic plenty, which are not much bigger than that. That's actually subarctic plenties. That's as big as I've gotten off the subarctic plenties. Plus I have celebrities and Romas. So anything I gather this year is going to be, it's going to be a crapshoot of whatever the tomatoes are going to be. So next year I have a fresh packet of Manitoba bought seeds, and I have a packet of Scotias. Those are both mid-sized cold season tomatoes, or short season tomatoes, I should say. So I will start and plant those next year. I'm going to have to throw out the Manitoba tomatoes I saved. The Manitoba tomato seeds I saved from last year. I'm going to have to take them out of my seed box and throw them away unless I want more Brandywine, right? So next year, it's going to be okay. If I plant the Scotia tomatoes and the Manitoba tomatoes, they're very similar. So if they crossbreed, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But as for subarctic plenties, no, they're not much bigger than a cherry tomato, really. So they weren't worth it. Although I am getting, a handful almost every day going in the freezer. But, I mean, a handful is like a half a Brandywine tomato. You know what I mean? So what else is going on? Yes, my squash trellis works really well. I don't know who told me that the squash had to lay on the ground. It didn't, or they wouldn't work, but it's working. However, My bamboo canes are not very sturdy. So next year I'm going to plant I'm going to make a trellis of 1x1s. Same style, but I'm gonna sink 1x1s into the corner of each squash bed, and I'll probably change the location too. I like to rotate my crops, but I'm gonna sink 1x1s, and then I'm going to zip tie, because if 1x1s, they're thicker and they're square and they won't slide as much. Because these have a tendency to slide, and it'll bear better weight. So it was a great idea. It's working, but those canes are going to go for beans next year. I am going to use that style for my beans that I used for my spaghetti squash here with the canes. Because when I did the teepees this year, one good wind, the beans went so nuts, one good wind almost knocked them all over. So I want something a little sturdier for the beans next year. I'm knitting. You guys are not going to see the knitting videos, for the simple reason is these are for my upcoming grandbaby, my expected grandbaby in December, and I don't want the parents to see what I'm working on. So when they're done, there's some things I'm going to have to assemble, and some things I'm going to try and video as I knit, but it won't be easy. It won't be easy. So I will probably show you how I put together some things and stuff them, and then I will show you the completed that I'll be working on. So you'll see that in a video, but it won't be until winter. Oh, and speaking of winter, I'm just talking to somebody about getting some firewood this winter. And well, firewood for this winter. Last year we got a load that had a lot of poplar in it, and poplar is like the poor man's hardwood. It's not spruce, but it lasts longer than, say, spruce, but not as long as, say, maple, birch, or oak, right? So we ended up burning through our wood a lot faster than we should have. So I just put a plea out on my local Facebook page saying, hey, I need firewood, cut, split, delivered, all hardwood, no poplar, please. So somebody contacted me and said, how much do you need? I said, well, minimum 5 and 7 if the price is right, 7 cord. So that will do us all winter, probably well into the spring. What else is coming up? There's more canning videos coming up. And don't forget, if you have not seen the video 4 Jars Party, go over there and make your comment. Okay? Because the 4 Jars Parties are, they're coming, we're winding down, because canning season, by the time I'm done, or by the time canning season is done for the most part, then I am done doing giveaways on 4 Jars. There's no point in doing it in November, December, January, February, right? So look for that, because it's one of the final giveaways for the year. So go over and make your comment on that if you're a canner and you need canning lids. What else is going on? Oh yeah, see? 4 Jars canning lids, the only canning lids I use. We're down to a couple of races. I have only been to 1 or 2 this year. And next weekend, Labor Day weekend, I'll be at the races with Howie, I hope. We have to find a way of taking my bouncer there. I don't care if I have to bounce in public, but my bouncer needs to, go with me, my rebounder. Because once I get into a routine of a healthier way of living, it has to be, I can't just go to the races for the weekend. Well, I could do exercises, I suppose, and instead of bouncing, I could go walking. So, yeah, okay. But there's the Labor Day. I'm only doing two races this year, and that's the Labor Day weekend and the Spooktacular, which is on the weekend of our Thanksgiving here in Canada. When is our Thanksgiving? Yes, it's on the 10th of October this year. And so that weekend is the Spooktacular, and I'm really actually hoping to do a tent, because it's our Thanksgiving, but what they do is they wind up the year with a great big Spooktacular bonanza, and there's a turkey dinner, and the kids all get dressed up and trick or treat among the racing campers and all that stuff. And I want to do a gypsy tent and read cards in the crystal ball and all that stuff. It's all in fun as well, right? So there's a lot of things coming up, not to mention canning, and we are getting a side of beef. And I got to write that on my list. We're getting a side of beef in December. So that's coming up. The freezer has to be cleaned out, and I have to, put things in other freezers so that freezer can be cleaned and the hinges put back on. Howard. And the hinges put back on for our side of beef that's to come. I'd like to get a bag of corn for the freezer too, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't eat a lot of corn, right? But it's nice to have, say, a family comes up and, Arthur's gluten intolerant, so there's nothing to putting 10 cobs of corn still in the husk, frozen right in the oven, and making a chicken and some other vegetables that aren't gluten contaminated, right? So these are all things I think about when I'm doing stuff. But also I'm hoping to get one more Costco run in before fall sets in. I'm going to visit my kids in October. We're taking the motorhome down and parking in their driveway, and we're going down. I think we're taking Briar with us, and we're going down to visit the kids at the end of October. My summer is kind of late. What? Oh my goodness. She's got to get her mummy time. When I'm talking to the camera, I think she worries. She worries that Mummy's gone off her rocker because she's talking to nobody. But I think she's figured out that when I'm talking, I'm actually talking to somebody. And she doesn't want to miss. What? You love your Mummy. There you go. Yeah. Oh, okay. Mummy's got to get back to work. Love you. So, also, there's going to be, I haven't done a lot of baking because, well, I'm eating sensibly right now. But remember, Thanksgiving and the holidays are just around the corner. And I'm going to be working from the recipe box for my Christmas baking this year. Howie and his friends at work are all very excited because I said everything I bake, I'm probably going to send into work with Howie the next day. So, because I want to continue to lose weight. Yes, I'm still going to make my snowballs this year. Yes, I'm still going to make my shortbread. Yes, I'm still going to make my fruitcakes. They're actually probably going to come early November, the fruitcakes. But I want to do recipes from the recipe box because most of the, I'm going to say 80% of the recipes in that recipe box are desserts, right? So we're going to be going through them. Trust me, I just won't be able to eat them. You know what I mean? Kind of the best kind of torture, isn't it? Oh, look at how beautiful and delicious. Is that good? Oh, yummy. That's wonderful. Don't tell me anymore. So anyway, there's lots of things to look forward to. Some people gave me some really good tips on frugal living. I never even thought about this. When I pressure can bones or a turkey carcass or chicken carcass or anything like that, the bones are quite soft. So I should wash them, put them in the dehydrator, and then, or grind them up while they're soft in the Ninja blender and dehydrate them and put them in the garden. Put them in or save them for when I'm starting my seeds next year. Eggshells, anything like that. And of course, You know me, when I'm making my garden medley vegetable stuff, I'll be cutting the bottoms off of everything and making broth again. So there's a lot more canning videos to come. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half acre homestead saying that's just a few things you got to look forward to. And thank you everybody for helping me and supporting me on my health journey. You know what? Being told you're going to be a grandmother does something to you, doesn't it? Take care. God bless.